The way I read it, India is standing at a fork in the road between staying a country that assembles chips and becoming one that actually makes them. The newly announced plan to add 5 to 8 fabs sounds bold if you only look at the numbers, but the real story isn't the number of fabs. Whether the foundation beneath them comes together, that, I'd argue, is what will decide what this plan actually means.
Welcome to Semiconductor News Decoded. I'm Ty, with 31 years inside the semiconductor industry, bringing you the real view from the factory floor. Today, we're covering the fab expansion plan Prime Minister Modi announced on India's Independence Day. By the end of this video, you'll see not just what was announced, but where India's semiconductor industry really stands, and what will actually decide whether this plan succeeds.
Here's today's news, in one picture. We'll lean on this restaurant analogy all the way through the opening section. In a fast-growing city, the mayor proudly declares, over the next 7 to 8 years, this town will open 5, no, maybe 8 full-scale restaurants. The population is large, demand for dining out is set to grow, and the whole town is buzzing with excitement. So what's actually operating in this town today? 3 catering centers. They receive dishes cooked elsewhere, plate them beautifully, box them up, and deliver them. They're open for business, and shipments beyond the town have already begun. That's a genuine achievement, but they're not cooking anything from scratch. The first restaurant with its own kitchen is still under construction. And here's the thing, it originally promised high-end French cuisine, but partway through, the plan changed to starting with simple set meals instead. Some in town are grumbling that the sign over the door promised something else entirely. But there's another way to look at it. Fancy French is glamorous, but nobody knows if customers will come. Set meals sell every single day. You sharpen your kitchen skills, build regulars, and learn to run the place. For a town opening its very first kitchen, that's arguably the sensible order to do things. And what you really need to open more restaurants isn't a fancy sign. It's gas, water, and power, plus enough customers who can actually afford to eat out. Whether the mayor's plan ends up as pie in the sky or the town becomes a true dining destination depends on this groundwork, not on the number of restaurants. From here, let me walk you through what this actually looks like in the real semiconductor industry. August 15th, India's Independence Day. In his speech, Prime Minister Modi declared that over the next 7 to 8 years, India will stand up 5, 7, maybe 8 new semiconductor plants. The government's press bureau, PIB, published the announcement the same day. He also highlighted a milestone. 3 semiconductor facilities have already begun operating, and chip exports have started. Those 3 facilities are all in Sanand, Gujarat. A plant from U.S. memory giant Micron started up in late February. India's Keynes Semicon on March 31st, and CG Semi on July 4th. But here's the key point. All 3 are back-end facilities, handling chip assembly, packaging, and testing. As for the new 5 to 8 fabs, no company names, investment amounts, or technology details have been disclosed. That said, the plan isn't baseless. India has approved 12 projects under its first semiconductor policy, and in July, it approved a second phase worth 1.275 trillion rupees. Among the approved projects, a 4th facility is slated to come online in 2026, following the 3 already running. The ammunition behind the vision is at least loaded. And the main event is the 300mm fab that Tata Electronics is building in Dholera with Taiwan's foundry PSMC. This is a front-end fab, the kind that actually prints the circuits. But reports say the plan shifted from starting at 28 nanometers to starting at the older 90 nanometer generation, and commercial production slipped from late 2026 to mid-2028. The target is 50,000 wafers per month. Now, here's the heart of it. Most media headlines focus on the number, 5 to 8 fabs. What I'm watching is the substance. All 3 operating facilities are back-end, and not a single front-end fab is running in India yet. Some dismiss the 5 to 8 figure as a political slogan, but with approved projects backing it, I don't think it's fair to write it off as fantasy either. The real question isn't whether the number is true, it's the sequence.
In other words, just like our story, India has built a real track record in plating and boxing, but its own kitchen is still to come. Can Tata's Dholera fab come up without further delays and reach volume production? That, I believe, is the litmus test of whether India can truly become a country that makes chips. The shift from 28 to 90 nanometers looks like a retreat from the original pledge, but I don't see it as bad news. 90 nanometer is a living, working technology. Microcontrollers, power chips, display drivers, all still made in huge volumes worldwide. It plugs straight into India's domestic demand for appliances and cars. Start with the set meal that definitely sells. To me, that's a rational choice. So what's the biggest wall? I'd say electricity. A fab needs rock-steady power around the clock, every day of the year, not a moment of outage allowed. Modi's target of expanding nuclear power to 100 gigawatts by 2047 belongs to exactly this context. And it's not just fabs. The AI data centers India wants to grow in parallel need the same massive, stable power. Running out of electricity before running out of fabs, that, I think, is the most realistic risk. One more number from the speech: training 10 million AI professionals. But with no training hours or curriculum visible yet, my read is that the substance could end up closer to a count of online course completions. On the market side, the realistic near-term picture isn't all 1.4 billion people, but the roughly 10% with real purchasing power, still 140 million people. So here's the core. Don't count the fabs. Watch whether Tata's fab reaches volume production and lifts its yield, whether it lands customers, whether the power supply holds steady, and whether jobs and purchasing power spread. If that foundation comes together, the 5 to 8 number will follow on its own. That's my take. From Japan's perspective, this is a fascinating contrast. Japan's Rapidus chose to leap straight to cutting-edge 2 nanometer, while India chose to build up from the assured demand of 90 nanometer. As national strategies for standing up new fabs, they're polar opposites, and it's too early to say which is right. But India's sell what sells pragmatism should not be underestimated. That's how I feel. India's semiconductor policy has moved on from the stage of luring factories to a stage where facilities actually run, and the next chapter is being written. Don't be dazzled by the flashy numbers. Quietly watch whether the foundation solidifies. That, I believe, is the right way to read this news. Let's wrap up. On Independence Day, Prime Minister Modi announced 5 to 8 additional semiconductor fabs over the next 7 to 8 years. But the 3 facilities running today are all back-end, and the front-end story starts with Tata's Dholera fab. Starting from 90 nanometers is a realistic choice that matches real demand, and success will hinge not on the number of fabs, but on the foundation of power, people, and purchasing power. That's how I see it. That's all for today. I'll keep bringing you semiconductor news and analysis, so if you found this useful, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. This has been Ty on Semiconductor News Decoded.